We are one day away from Super Bowl 57. If you're excited for this game to take place between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs as the Birds are looking for their second Lombardi trophy, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. And don't forget to tune into our watch party tomorrow. We'll be live for a pregame show 2 hours before kickoff, throughout the game, audience interaction, live play-by-play, and hopefully we are reacting to an Eagles victory after this game wraps up. EAGLES, let's get it, Philadelphia. So coming your way on today's show, I had an opportunity to sit down with Eagles wide receivers coach Aaron Moorehead. And for those of you who love the game of football, I guarantee you, you're really going to enjoy this conversation. If you're a football nerd, this will really fulfill all of your football needs in the lead up to this game for Super Bowl 57. Had an opportunity to ask him about the development of DeVonta Smith, what makes him and A.J. Brown so special, how he as a wide receivers coach has been able to elevate A.J. Brown and DeVonta, even though they're really talented wide receivers, some of the coaching nuances that goes into really elevating the play. I asked him why Jalen Hurts hasn't worked out in his NFL career. So sit back, enjoy, watch this Eagles interview with Eagles wide receivers coach Aaron Moorehead. And if you remember, prior to him coming here in this regime for Nick Sirianni, this is an organization that really struggled to develop wide receivers. That's no longer the case. This is an Eagles organization that prior to you really struggled to develop wide receivers. As part of your coaching process, how have you been able to maximize some of the players on this roster, from A.J. Brown setting a record for the most receiving yards in a single season in franchise history this year, to DeVonta Smith breaking the record for the most receptions, and really elevating the wide receivers in this room?
Well, I think it starts with your preparation every day. You got to come in with an understanding of what you're trying to do to get them better. And that's how I wake up every morning. It's the first thing I think about. I get my coffee, I get in my car, and I'm driving into work going, how am I going to get them better today? And that's kind of how my process works every day. What am I going to do today? DeVonta was struggling with this yesterday. How am I going to get that fixed? AJ needs help with this. How am I going to get that fixed? And I think that, you know, their natural skill sets are going to allow them to be successful. And it's how do you bring the things that they struggle with up? And I think that every guy has the things that they struggle with, and you have to fix those, because then what happens is their confidence grows. And as their confidence grows and they think there's not any route that they can't run to get open, it's you can take off. And as a player, being with Reggie Wayne and being with Marvin Harrison and watching those guys on a daily basis and trying to emulate what they were doing, I gained confidence, and I watched them gain confidence in their games as the years went on. And so it's not foreign to me. So I was able to continue to grow, and between the time I've gotten here to the time that we're sitting here now, I really feel like the guys have gotten better every step of the way. And, you know, Nick does a good job in what he teaches and what he wants to teach, and then that's allowed me to develop as a coach as well. So really just a daily understanding of what you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it.
I thought a quote from Dallas Goedert really stood out recently, where he said prior to this coaching regime, him and Zach Ertz would kind of banana route into routes, whereas now it's stick your foot in the dirt, make a hard cut, and it does make you more difficult to defend, right? So how important are those little details to kind of relay that to the player? Look, this is why it's important. It might sound small, but at the end of the day, these things can make the difference between you having yards of separation and you maybe not.
Yeah, I do think that's important. And I was never teaching that to them. I would always try to tell Zach he needs to stick his foot in the ground and go somewhere, but he was comfortable doing that, and I know why he was doing that. So, but there is an important to that. It's separation from the defensive back, separation from the guy covering you, and then at the same time, when you get to separation, now you're getting yards after the catch. And you're getting these explosive plays over and over and over again. And I think that we have the guys with those skill sets to be able to do that. Some guys struggle to do that, and it takes a lot of work to get them in and out of their breaks clean, but it's constant. It's over and over and over, and it's not getting frustrated with the player. It's figuring out a way to make it work, and the guys we have in our room are tireless workers that want to be great, and they don't accept mediocrity, and I think that since the time I've gotten here to now, we've just continued to grow and get better as a group.
A.J. Brown, to me, is the closest thing to Terrell Owens that I've seen in a long time. He looks like a robot in terms of his physical stature. He's just a unique specimen. But like Terrell Owens, not only is he big in terms of his physicality, he has this pull-away speed that's really special. He can come down with the 50-50 balls. He's very difficult to bring down after the catch and is just so elusive in the open field. What kind of makes him special? Because this is a transaction for this franchise that has completely changed this offense in bringing him in.
Absolutely. I knew who AJ was. When I was in college coaching in the SEC, I coached against him a couple times. And then obviously once I got here and he was in Tennessee, just kind of watching other teams' offenses, you had an idea who he was. But I tell you what, watching him and being around him in person, there's a kind of a almost holy cow aspect to what he physically could do. He just needed to be fine-tuned. He needed to clean up some things. And to his credit, one of our first meetings, I told him some of the things that I thought he needed to clean up, and he agreed with me. So I said, well, let's get to work, and that's what we ended up doing. And so AJ wants to get better, but he has a physical skill set that not many people in this world have. The guy is big, he's strong, he's quick, and he's fast. And to be 225 or 230 pounds and to be able to have the quickness that he has and to be able to have the speed that he has is really it's unique. And then at the same time, he catches the ball in his hands trying to run with the ball when he catches it. He's not just trying to catch and fall down or catch and see who's around him. He's catching and running. So all those things, because he is who he is physically and the things that he's learned since he's been playing football at Ole Miss, with Tennessee, with us, has allowed him now to put it all together and have the best year of his career.
As far as DeVonta Smith, we saw what he did at Alabama, Heisman Trophy winner. His production there was really just absurd. It looked as though he was just on a different level and different playing field as compared to his counterparts and the opposition that he was going up against. How has he been able, though, to even improve further in the NFL? What does that say about him to have that level of dedication and preparation to not just be content with what he did at Alabama and continuing to really sharpen his skill set?
Well, you know, the one thing about DeVonta, he wants to be the best. You know, we went from last year, he set the rookie record for, yards during the season. This year he set the 2-year record for yards and catches. He was the alternate for the Pro Bowl. And, that was part of our goal, was for him, that's the next step. And, but his goal is not to be, I don't want to be a top 10 receiver. He wants to be number 1. The guy wants to be the best receiver in the league. And how do you get that? Well, you don't stop working. You don't think that your game is finished. You continue to find little things to work on, whether it's within your releases, whether it's at the top of your route, whether it's catching the ball a certain way, whether it's feeling the space that's around you and understanding exactly where people are so you get maximum yards after the catch. He's meticulous, the guy, and he makes me meticulous because if I miss something, he's on me about it, and he knows it, and I know it, so I don't miss very much with him. So I know that DeVonta is the type of guy that every day he comes to work, he's looking to get better, and he's looking to make the people around him better. And I think between him and AJ and Quez, they've all pushed Jalen to a new level, and I think Jalen has pushed them to a new level. So it's been pretty fun watching them grow as men, watching them grow as football players, and excited to get out here and get going Sunday.
Did your time with Marvin Harrison overlap in Indy or no?
Yeah, 5 years together.
Okay. I thought so. So coming out of college, I thought that DeVonta Smith kind of had some qualities that Marvin Harrison has, both from a route technician standpoint, but also just being a silent assassin. Am I right on that? Is there some similarities between those two?
There's a lot of similarities between those two, and I'm not a big comparison guy. I think that you can put yourself in a bad position if you start comparing guys, but you did notice some similarities in how they run their routes. When I was with Marvin, he was in year 8 to 12. He was a polished guy. I didn't get to see him early on except on tape, so it was hard for me to compare a guy who was a perennial Pro Bowler, All-Pro, on his way to the Hall of Fame, but you could see some of it. But at the end of the day, I think that there is something that you can see in both of those guys where you go, it's special. And you know it, and just being their build is very similar, and understanding how to get open, understanding where the space is, and there's a lot of things that both of those guys carry that allowed Marvin to have a Hall of Fame career and has allowed DeVonta to be one of the best receivers in the league in his first 2 years. So they're doing great.
We've seen DeVonta elevate. We've seen A.J. Brown, who it seemed impossible for him to get even better than he was in Tennessee. He's gotten better. The guy to your right, Quez Watkins, has developed into a good wide receiver. I'm curious to see what he'd be able to do with more opportunities, but he's just behind two studs. What held Jalen Reagor back from really breaking out? I'm not asking you to bash him, but from a football standpoint, why hasn't he been able to find his stride both with Philadelphia and Minnesota?
Well, I think, and Jalen's a guy I know for a long time, love him, and again, he put himself in a position when he got here to be successful. And unfortunately, he had 3 or 4 not major injuries, but kind of minor, but took time off injuries in his rookie year. And by the time he got figured out of what we were doing offensively, that Doug and that staff had been let go. And so you move into that next year. It's a new offense. You got to learn a new offense. And he came in and as training camp was going on, he was playing well and doing some good things. And you remember the first game last year, he played well. And then the next game against San Francisco, he had that close catch where he stepped out of bounds by just a little bit and had a touchdown catch. And as the year was going on, it was a little bit of just kind of losing his confidence. And Quez was playing really good, and we were giving Quez a lot of opportunities that he earned. And Jalen is just kind of got to just find his way. Now he's in his third offense in 3 seasons. That's tough, So hopefully he gets a chance to stick there in Minnesota and be in the same offense and understand it and move forward, and he'll be okay. But I wish nothing but the best for that guy, because whenever I asked him to do, he did it. He worked. He continued to work at everything that he was supposed to be working at. And, unfortunately, when it was all said and done, DeVonta and Quez and AJ were playing over him, and it was probably best for everybody to move on, and they did, and now he's at Minnesota, and just hope that 2023 brings some success.